Okay, so you're a boomer. You're somewhere between the ages of 58 and 76, or pretty close to that, and you're thinking about downsizing. Before I give you the 8 typical mistakes that we make as boomers on this subject, before I give that to you, there's a couple of things I want you to think about. First of all, you need to be thinking about where you're going to go. Is this going to be kind of a local downsizing move, or are you going to be moving out of state? Like someplace like where I live in Florida, where it's warm and sunny, tropical, and we don't have snow. You need to be thinking about where you're going to go, because that's going to kind of change how you approach this. And number 2, how much space are you going to need? How much space are you going to need to live in to be happy and comfortable? Those are 2 key things to think about. And now I'm going to give you 8 mistakes that boomers typically make. First mistake that we boomers make is we wait too long to make the decision. Look, it's never an easy decision to decide to move from point A to point B, but it's even more difficult as you get older. As we get older, sometimes we have health issues, sometimes we don't want to deal with the stress. So it's really, really hard to make that decision, and oftentimes we just wait too long. The best time to have made a decision to move or make this move and downsize was probably for you 5 to 10 years ago. The second best time to make that decision is right now. The sooner you go ahead and make that decision and start to get your plan laid out, the better off you're going to be. The second mistake that people make is they overestimate or guesstimate what their current property is worth. There's been a real estate boom in recent years. It has ebbs and flows. But oftentimes people have got in their head an amount of money that their neighbor sold their house for 6 months ago, and they think that's what they're going to be able to sell their house for. And so that may or may not be the case. So it's really, really important as you think about downsizing is to figure out what your current property is worth. Now, there's a lot of ways you can do that. You can go to Zillow, you can go to Realtor.com. Maybe you have a realtor friend in the market that will pull up some comparative market analysis for you and give you an idea of what it's worth. But the more exact you can get with that number, at least be close, you'll now know how much equity you'll be working with when you finally make that move and decide where you want to move to. So again, the second mistake is overestimating what your current property is worth. Third mistake that we boomers make is we haven't thought out what to do with all the stuff that we have. We've got 30 or 40 years worth of stuff laying around the house that we haven't really decided to purge yet. I've got another video, by the way, about decontenting your home. You might want to take a look at it. But for right now, we really need to start to think about how we're going to unload all these things. Are we going to give some to relatives? Are we going to have a yard sale? Are we just going to give it to Goodwill or the Salvation Army? There's a lot of planning that needs to go in getting rid of that stuff, because you're not going to want to, and you're not going to be able to take it with you when you downsize. Fourth mistake that we boomers make is we don't think about potential tax issues when we sell our property and now get ready to downsize. Look, I'm not an attorney or a CPA, and this may not be an issue for you, but for some people it is. So you really need to give some thought. Are there going to be any tax issues involved here? And should you get some advice regarding that potential problem? Fifth mistake that we often make, and this is because we're boomers, and this is because we've bought a number of properties over the years. The fifth mistake that we make is we focus too much on getting a great buy on a property. Look, it doesn't do you a bit of good to get a great buy on a property that doesn't really fit your needs. To get a great buy on a 3-story townhouse without an elevator at your age probably isn't the wisest thing to do. So what's more important is to focus on making sure the property you buy fits your lifestyle moving forward. This could very well be the last house you live in before you go into a nursing home or have to live with someone else. We can kind of agree on that, right? So let's make sure that we don't worry so much about that. Look, even if you overpay today, just a little bit, you're going to be in this house another 10, 15, 20 years at least. It's going to go up in value. Don't be so focused on getting a great buy. Be more focused on making sure this property suits your needs moving forward. Number 6 is underestimating your ongoing expenses. So when you downsize, you may be moving into a condo or a smaller property someplace. They may have a homeowners association. You have to pay fees. You have to pay condo fees. So sometimes we underestimate what those numbers are going to look like. You know, you're gonna if you have enough equity in your current house and you sell it and you buy something and pay cash, you're still going to be dealing with taxes, you're going to be dealing with insurance, and you're going to be dealing with, again, condo fees and that sort of thing. So it's really, really important as you decide to downsize to make sure that you don't underestimate expenses moving forward. Some of those expenses are going to be normal maintenance and repairs on the property. Now, again, if it's a condo, the association and your fees are going to cover some of that, but you have assessments that come along from time to time that can eat you up. Look, one of the most important things to probably look at as a boomer and when you're downsizing and you're looking at another property is how old is that property? If that property is 15 to 20 years old, you could very well be, and it hasn't had a new roof recently, you could very well be looking at a new roof, a new AC. So don't underestimate what your expenses and costs are going to be moving forward. That's a critical mistake that a lot of us boomers make over the years. Mistake number 7, I'm almost running out of fingers here. Mistake number 7 is we boomers oftentimes do not consider renting when we think about downsizing. I understand, look, we've owned properties all of our life, a lot of us, right? And we don't even think that renting might be a possibility. It might be a possibility simply because it makes a lot of sense. You know, if you rent a property, you don't have to really worry about anything. You don't have to worry about repairs. You just pick up the phone, someone shows up, somebody else pays the bill, right? So it's a great way to keep your expenses under control. And look, it may be a good idea to rent at least for a year till you decide if that's the area you want to live in. Let's say you move to Florida where I work, right? If you come to Florida, this may or may not be the right fit for you. So maybe renting makes a lot of sense, but oftentimes we boomers, and it's because we've owned properties a lot of us for most of our lives, we don't even give renting a consideration. Renting is not always a bad idea. It's something for you to consider moving forward. Mistake number 8 is we don't think through the consequences of owning a pet. Now, it's a given that some developments have rules against pets. They won't let you have them at all, or if you have a dog that can't be over a certain amount of weight. That's kind of a given. But I think the piece that we forget is if we've been used to living in a single family residence, we turn the dog loose in the backyard, they do their business, they come in. Some of you probably even have one of those little doggy doors where the dog goes through the little door, right? But we don't have that luxury anymore. So you're going to have to walk that puppy every day. Now, even here in Florida, we get rain once in a while, not very often, and we don't get any snow, but you're going to have to go out in the weather sometimes and walk your dog. Are you willing to do that? So just keep in mind that one of the main considerations is what's going to be the impact of the pets that you currently own, because you may end up moving to a place that doesn't allow any pets, and that would just be terrible. I can't believe people think like that. They won't let you have a pet. But anyhow, you got to give that some thought. Mistake number 8 is not being aware of what's going to happen when you have a pet and you relocate and downsize. So there you have it. There's the 8 mistakes that us boomers typically make when we think about downsizing. There's probably more than 8, but that's 8 that'll get you kind of started and clear your thinking up just a bit. Hey, here's another video right here that you might find useful. It's about decontenting your house. I'm Tommy Gibbs. If I can ever help you with the real estate needs in Florida, please reach out. Thanks and have a great day.